Welcome, friend, to this week's exploration of tantric teachings. This is for you if you've been dealing with mental stories of the mind, stories that don't match what life keeps showing you, where our thoughts that we have aren't really aligning with the reality we want, or the reality we want or have isn't really matching with the stories we're telling. The title for this week is Aligning Word and World from Map to Reality. How do I stop believing my thoughts and start matching reality? So this is exploring the tantric teachings around the 4 levels of the word and how reality is a living vibration and how our inner language either harmonises with it or fights against it. The tantric view says the word, or vak, manifests both as our ideas and the world we touch. Practice is aligning the inner map with the outer terrain by dropping labels and letting truth reveal itself. When your words and your world start to rhyme, suffering loosens. When your words and your world, gotta get that pink mat, need to be sat comfortably so I can enjoy processing my thoughts. So, welcome to this space. I like to work by taking these reflections, these teachings, and letting my mind marinate in them whilst I move and nourish my body. I have my journal here, so I can write down my thoughts and explore the integration question attached to this week's teachings. If you're curious to know what that is, you can join the mailing list and you won't find out that way. You need to join the collective. The mailing list is a different integration question. That's more Christian teachings. These are more tantrically focused. So I'm studying Christopher Harish Wallace, Tantra Illuminated. This was chapter 67. Chapter 67. All about the introduction to the word. So let me explore with you, if you'll give me the opportunity. Classical Tantra, I'm reading this from the integration pack, holds that the totality of existence, everything, is the expression of a supreme word, or logos, in Greek mythology, Greek philosophy, vibrating as both ideas, signifiers, and things signified. So everything in existence is an expression of the word, and by that it's a vibration, and that everything that's in existence can be expressed as both an idea and as that thing. And that these two mirror each other because they arise from one consciousness. So it's not that they're separate, it's that they're opposite ends of the same spectrum. Unsurprisingly so with the tantric teachings. They like to do that. Misalignment happens when contracted knowing mistakes a partial picture for the whole. So we're so good at doing this as human beings. We know what we know, and we conclude that we know everything there is to know, and our ignorance of not seeing beyond that creates our suffering. We believe we see just one pixel and that we've seen the entire image, but really what we've seen is a partial representation, a partial understanding, this necessary contracted knowledge in tantric teachings. Oh, I'm off. Where am I off to? Sitting down. So today's focus was shoulders, And so I'm going to do some shoulder mobility, moving towards handstand and planche, as well as iron cross. I've got this crazy, not crazy dream, but it's very, it's a dream that's beyond my reach right now, which means it's something I actually want, of doing an iron cross. And so I'm focusing a lot of my training around that, but also getting my body into alignment so that it can function optimally. After 10 years of training handstands through a yogic lens and an egoic lens, I did a lot of damage to my body that I'm still paying for. That idea of karma, the energetic aftertaste of things done from a place of fear and what's the word? Lack. A place of fear or a place from lack, rather than a place of abundance. Abundance is such a key word for me right now. How can we sit in that abundance? And moving back to what I was exploring, practice is to experience without labels. If only. Okay, so before we learn language, we view the world without labels. However, as we develop, we begin to categorize our experience of reality. We call things tree, table, book, laptop, phone, bench, etc. But really, it's just a label. There's no such thing as a chair. There's no such thing like concept of chair. It's the label of a chair implies particular characteristics. But if you have an image of a chair in your mind right now, if it has 4 legs, 3 legs, you can have a chair with no legs. Can you not? And what we do is we limit our idea, our partial picture of reality. We create definitions as we navigate the world, and then we store those definitions in our subconscious mind. And we allow those definitions to shape the reality that we live in. The thing is, those definitions are by definition limited. They are just concepts. If I say tree and it brings up an image of a tree, is a particular image, but that's not the entire definition of what it is to be a tree. There's all of these different expressions of treeness, which lie outside of that partial picture. And when we mistake the partial picture that we've encoded for wholeness, the entirety of treeness, then that can create problems. For example, if to take an extreme, going back to the chair, if my definition of chair is 4 legs and a flat surface to sit on and a back to support, then anything that doesn't sit inside that picture of what I have as chair, if I were to be so adamant that everything that is a chair should look like that, then I'd be so unwilling to experience the reality of chairness beyond that limited perception. So this idea of the practice being to experience without labels, letting concepts be tested and refined by reality until the inner discourse resonates with the world's actual patterning. And in time, alignment begins to unfold spontaneously, like a song remembering its key. Oh yeah, I get those push-ups. So shoulder strength and shoulder mobility, but also a little movement through the body. Seeing what range of movement I have. Felt pretty good. I still have a hip problem on my left leg, which does limit me somewhat. It is limiting me, but I'm working on it. Oh, there we go. Iron cross training. Pushing down. I'm trying to get my head into a neutral position and my shoulders into a protracted position. And then pressing the hips down into the ground. Trying to build the strength there. Seeing where my spine and body and neck is compensating. See, I didn't go into full protraction there. Planche. Maybe I should do that, knees wide. Okay. So, how do I stop believing my thoughts and start matching reality? Dear adventurer, here's the friendly truth-telling my morning offered. Sometimes the map in our head swears it's the country. Ha! We add names, colours, clever borders, and then wonder why our feet keep tripping on mountains the map forgot to draw. Ha! Tantra calls the world a living word, a kind of cosmic poetry that shows up both as our ideas and the stuff on the kitchen table. When we treat a draft as the final, we suffer. When we listen again, the poem finishes its rhyme. Okay. So the map has value, right? The map has value in that it allows us to navigate the country. However, the map can't hold all the details of the infinitely complex terrain that is the country. Yet, it's so easy for myself, I'll speak for myself, to get confused. When we treat a draft as the final, we suffer. When we navigate the world and we create our dictionary, that doesn't mean the dictionary doesn't get refined. When we experience something and then label it rather than experience it for what it is, we miss out on something. We label it as the past rather than experience it as the present and allow our definition to be evolved for the future. Okay, so I've got offer divine. Start by admitting how free the real is. It owes your belief nothing. Let sensations speak before labels. Let facts hum under opinions. Think of it as tuning fork practice. I'm going to sneeze, I think. I did in fact sneeze, but I paused it for you. Let sensations speak before labels. That's really hard because even when I see like my phone, I'm labeling it as that rather than experiencing it as that. And it sounds strange, but the value of experiencing something in that moment rather than seeing it as the labeled thing from before, it's real. So spot the sentence under the swirl. What's the belief you're about to defend with your whole life? If it doesn't match reality's music, rewrite it in language your nervous system can trust. If it doesn't match reality's music. So in Tantra, suffering is the ignorance to the truth of what is. We suffer when we don't acknowledge reality for what it is, when we want things to be different than what they are, or classify things different to what they are. We apply our filter through reality, and that creates our suffering. So for example, one image that came to my head is say, okay, this is better. Say as a young child, you went to a neighbour's home and they had a dog, and that dog barked at you and scared you. It can then, at that young impressionable age, make the association in your mental somatic dictionary, sapiosomatic, I like that, dictionary, that dogs are dangerous. And so you can then, next time you see a dog, you treat it as if it is dangerous, and you experience fear because it responds to you in that way. And then that solidifies this belief that dogs are dangerous and should be avoided. And then we can end up carrying this into adulthood, this belief based on one experience in our youth, which then colours the rest of our life. At some point we can get to a position where we recognize that the story we've told doesn't match the reality we experience. We notice that other people like dogs, everyone sees, a lot of people have dogs, a lot of people enjoy how friendly dogs are, and it begins to rewrite our inner reality because it then matches our outer reality. With more subtle things, that's not so easy, and that's why this path of liberation is about recognizing what's true, trying to spot the sentence under the swirl, the belief you're about to defend with your whole life. That belief built from the anthology of scars that we have. Whisper Satya Santi, that's the mantra to accompany this teaching. Satya Shanti. Satya Shanti. Truth and peace. Satya, truth, Shanti, peace. And take the smallest step that fits the truer line. Send the text, rest the case, drink the water, keep the promise. One clean beat at a time, your inner world and the world start to dance together. Satya Shanti is a mantra. That sense of truth, what is, and peace, ease, settledness. This idea of the word, this sense of the divine word, that what we speak becomes manifest reality, has the potential to. And that can be challenging for a lot of us, because we say we think we say something and then our reality doesn't match to it. There's an incongruence there. What it is it does match reality. It's just the reality that exists in our limited perception, not necessarily shared. When the map learns from the landscape, life gets kinder, not because it gets easier, but because you're no longer arguing with what exists. And that's a relief you can feel in your bones. Oh man, people that argue with reality create a lot of suffering for themselves and for others. Think of people who, this feels really harsh, but they refuse to see the reality of a situation. When we argue from that perspective, and when we stop arguing from that perspective, life gets kinder. So need the chair. Want to be able to dead hang, and so having that elevation away from the floor, so I can allow full extension through the arms. It's really nice for opening up through the shoulders, and then finding scapular mobility from that space is super valuable. I'm also trying to get this bicep activation, but really it's getting the shoulders in the right place and making sure they're even on both sides. And I zip up the legs just to conserve energy and keep it in the body. I'm trying to keep the movement and musculature that's being engaged on both sides fairly balanced, rather than dropping into more internal rotation on one side than the other, trying to find an equilibrium between the two. So this sense of aligning word and world. And in this edition, I'm not getting into the that's why. I'm not getting into the 4 layers. They'll be next week and subsequent weeks. But the valuable thing in this is the recognition that you do have your own dictionary for reality. And that dictionary is not complete. And when we refer to the dictionary instead of experiencing the actuality of reality, it can lead to suffering because of the misalignment. Utilization of the dictionary can be valuable, helps us navigate the world, and when we come up against suffering in our lives, if it's mind-based suffering, it's because of the dictionary that we're using. For example, if I am of the belief that a good wife is one that always cooks, then I have made an assumption, a definition in my mind that doesn't necessarily match one of reality. You can be a good wife who doesn't cook. It's understanding, recognizing the beliefs, the labels, the sentences in our head that we create that misalign with our raw sensorial experience. I'm doing chair handstands. Okay, so I'm trying to, and then into Iron Cross territory. I'm trying to maintain neutrality of the spine and the head. Opening up through the shoulders, but then activation through pec protraction as well. Really works the bicep tendon. Being able to hold that straight arm position. And then it helps through the spine as well. And doing this little press up position kind of as a rest. Oh, look at my neck, look at my head. Come on. That's a bit more neutral. Yeah, full turn out all the way to that handstand position. Oh, where's he going? Oh, he's going all the way out. Okay. So I'm trying to keep the shoulders in line. Going wide, going to that planche-like position while getting the turn out through the hands. So the palms of the hands essentially facing forwards. Trying to find, there it is, neutrality of the spine and the head. Protraction, stability through core. And press up. Oh no, gone wide. Really good for the chest. Really feel that. There's the push up. Try not to collapse through the spine, through the abdominals. Push. So this sense of stopping believing your thoughts. Satya Shanti. Is challenging because it requires us to really be aware of the thoughts we're having, the stories we're telling, and the emotions that fuel the actions that we follow based on the beliefs we hold. If you find that you're experiencing challenge with the stories, the thoughts, the loops in your mind, and how there's a mismatch between them and life, reality, it'll be because of these 4 levels of the word. These ways that we construct what we express, and starting to even just take notice of the story we impose over the reality we experience will help unpick some of that. There's value in getting support. If you're still listening to this, even if you're writing it, journaling, or speaking to someone, there's value. Otherwise, feel free to reach out. I work with people who, I'm endeavoring to work more with people who want to align their lives, who want to stop living the lies in their mind and start enjoying the reality of their life. And if that's you, write something like feel free to write in the comment section something that spoke to you, a understanding you didn't have, a story that you've kept looping that doesn't match reality, definition you've created. And by identifying it, you're taking a step towards rewriting it. So thank you. Satya Shanti.